forgot. Okay, it counts down. Wow, we're really recording. Oh, this is zoomed in. Okay, we're really here. Hello. Um, Hi. All right, we're doing this. I'm so nervous. You would think that this is my first episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Spiritual Therapy World podcast, where we will be discussing all things mental health and holistic wellness for my fellow self healers and mental health warriors. I'm your host, Arrianna, and thank you for tuning in again. Or if this is your first listen, then welcome, welcome, welcome. So I decided that we're going to start calling these sessions instead of episodes. Um, if you're looking at the video, I'm also recording myself record. Or if you're listening, then you can see, or probably hear, I'm like tussling around with something. Anyways, this is going to be a pretty chill, relaxed episode. I have a little something always written down for me to kind of guide myself to and bring myself back in because I could talk forever. But basically, I just meditated. I did a prayer and meditation to release any anxieties and worries and give it to God. Um, it's been a few months since I recorded a podcast. A lot has happened in my life, a lot of changes, a lot of healing, a lot of learning and growing, and a lot of trying and praying and a lot of getting in tune with myself and strengthening my relationship with God, really learning how to trust God. It is a day by day process. And so I am still learning, I'm still working on it. My therapist likes to tell me I need to learn how to surrender to God. So that is what I've been working on. A lot of therapy, self therapy, journaling, all the good things, all the good things. The gym. I've been in the gym. What else? That's pretty much it. That's like a little mini update, but we're gonna go ahead and get started on today's session. So before we do, get cozy, grab a snack, and get something to take down some notes. So I kind of just gave a little brief update as to where I've been, and I've taken a break, obviously. um, And the episode before last was about the different seasons of life, right? And so I think that that episode was so timely and so divine, um, because after those episodes I did last, I went through every possible season imaginable in a short span of time, all at the same time. Every season, even the ones we didn't cover. um, So, those two episodes were very special to me because they were my first two guest episodes. And that was around the end of June. The first one was with Kelly Kendrick. That's when we were talking about the different seasons of life. And then shortly after that, the second one was with Shayna James, and we did kind of like a little mini intro session into human design and how that plays a role with mental health and astrology and things like that. Um, Two very, very, very amazing episodes. I mean, when I did those episodes, it was kind of just like, wow, okay, this is what my life could be like, right? I can do something that I enjoy and have fun doing, have fun creating, get to connect with like minded people and talk about everything that I love. So it was just like perfect in a sense. It just those 2 days were just the best days I had all year, to be honest. Well, I won't say all year, but two of the very best days that I had this year for sure. Like life changing, will never forget. And thank you to both Kelly and Shanna for being my first guest and being willing to just be a part of something that's like my baby, you know? it's um it's something that I'm still kind of working on, as well as like confidence is really just like being confident in the vision and being confident in my calling. And it's not easy. But that's what today's episode is, or session or episode, whichever. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about blind faith. Um, if you haven't listened to those two episodes, I really suggest you do go listen to them. They're up. But like I was saying, I do feel like now that was God's way of showing me of what is possible for my life in preparation of the things that I had to go through shortly after those episodes. Your faith will be tested a lot during this journey called life. Your faith will be tested. There's really no way around it. In the meditation I just did, it was saying that human life is so complex, and that's where anxiety and stress and worry and those things start to creep in, because we get into a habit of our routine, and then something comes along and now your routine is impacted or messed up, or you're thrown off track of whatever you were on, your plans that you have set for yourself. Another thing that I'm learning is that our plans are not God's plans, and sometimes we're going to be on a route that we think we're supposed to be going, and God will redirect you, because God knows that this path is the path where you're supposed to be going, for where God has you destined to be. And so it's not easy to accept if you have stress and anxiety and worries, because that turns into a form of us wanting to have control. Something else I learned that I've learned previous to this last season that I went through, but it's something that I'm still working through, is that I have some form of control issue, and it's trauma based. A lot of times our control issue is going to be trauma based, because we want to try to control our environment as much as we can, because at one point we weren't able to. And so that turns into this form of control issue. And then that turns into an issue with your relationship with God, because then you're trying to control your life, right? And it is your life. You do have free will. But once you're on your spiritual journey and your spiritual walk with God, and you're building that foundation and strengthening your relationship with God, and really in tune and in alignment and focused on what God has called you to do, like why you're here, right? We're all here for a reason. And yeah, I had to learn that, you know, some of that control issue was a trust issue of not also trusting God fully, because I'm a very analytical person at times. So I really do question a lot of things, and I know we're not supposed to question God, and I am working on that, but I would lie. I would be lying if I said I never questioned God. There's been plenty of times in my life, even recently, where I really questioned God and questioned my existence. So we're going to continue to just talk about blind faith and what that looks like. And me leading by example, me doing this podcast right now, right this very moment, is a test of blind faith. I have no idea where this is going, right? I literally have no clue where this is going. I had no clue. Excuse me, I'm getting a little emotional. I had no clue who my first guest was going to be. I had no clue who my second guest was going to be. I don't know who, well, actually, I do know who my third guest is going to be. But I don't know who other future guests will be. And I don't know, how impactful my voice could be. And if I follow what I believe is my purpose, I don't know where that will lead to. But if I have faith and trust in God fully and surrender, I'm pretty sure that whatever God has planned is greater than anything that I can imagine. And I have chills right now while I'm speaking, um, because I asked God to give me the right words to say. And I'm in this stage where, and I don't think it'll ever end, where God just never, never, ever, ever cease to amaze me. And if I allow myself to be of service, if I allow myself to be a vessel, if I allow myself to fully surrender and have the type of faith that is unwavering, then there is just, I won't know what the future will bring unless I keep trying, right? So, in addition to having faith, is you have to match it with action. So, there's not really much God is waiting on except for us to take action. Faith plus action. Faith plus action. Um, we're gonna talk. My notes are kind of all over the place, but it's okay. This is gonna be an informal episode, and it's gonna go up, whether I want it to go up or not, because I'm also being obedient. That's where we're going. Faith plus action plus being obedient. What is obedience? Obedience is literally doing the thing you are told to do. If God tells you to go outside and wait for it to rain, and all of your worries will be fixed, are you going to be obedient? Yes, you are. Now, with life, there comes times where we're going to procrastinate, right? Because we're being honest, we're being real. There's nothing to sugarcoat or hide. We've all have gone through some form of everything that I'm talking about. So disobedience is when you delay. Oh, I'll get it done later. Oh, I'll get it done next week. Oh, I'll get it done tomorrow. Using myself as an example, today is November the 19th. I had set out to have this recorded on November the 11th because dates and all that, special timing, and I believe it was a lunar eclipse, I believe. And I just felt like it would have been very powerful to get it done. But my week was so crazy. I hadn't been getting good rest. And when it came down to it, I was just like, okay, it's not going to get done. It's not going to get done. Now, could I have mustered up some time? Yes. Could I have gotten it done? Yes. Could I have not gotten it done? Absolutely. I could have just gotten it done, and it would have been whatever it was meant to be, right? So not to say that, okay, if you put it off, oh, the whole world is over, because that's extreme, right? Obviously, I'm still alive. Thank God bless me with the extra days every day to wake me up and, still be here to be able to record today. So don't take light of the day that you have. Time management is so important. Getting proper rest, all of the foundations of health that we talk about so often are so important to actually being productive and obedient to your calling and to what God is telling you to do, and being able to hear God. During my break, I also went through a couple of fasts. One in particular was for inner child healing. And I would say that, like, I realized I started to have repressions of memories when I was about probably 20, 21. And so I just started to kind of try to remember everything from my childhood that I could, because I knew that I wasn't remembering a lot of important things that happened. And I knew I was missing like a lot of gaps of time. And so part of this spiritual fast I did was so that I could be able to answer some questions for a trauma report, so I could kind of try to pinpoint the things that I'm still dealing with in therapy, and some things that I'm still struggling with, even though I've been in therapy off and on for seems like many years. um, Sometimes things are going to come back up, right? There are going to be times where we're triggered, and there are going to be times where some things that you thought you healed through surface again, and that's okay. It's just a part of the journey of healing, and knowing that it's okay, right? I had to learn that and accept that it's okay that some of the things I thought I was over, and like, oh, I thought I was already healed from that. Why is it bothering me still? Addressing the root of the problem is the only way that you're really going to get to the healing that you're looking for. So sometimes it's going to come back up because what you thought you had realized is not the actual root of the problem. And so you sometimes have to come and dig back and start over and dig deeper, and, kind of play around and reconnect the dots of what you thought went here and what didn't, and so forth. So I say all that to say it's okay. You're going to go through periods of time where everything is not going to be perfect. You're going to go through periods of time where, again, your faith is tested, but it's all about what you do to maintain not only your personal relationship with yourself, but your relationship with God. And I think a lot of times that's missed is that we're so focused on ourselves and everything going on in your life and other people's lives that you care about, and everything crazy that's going on in the world. And sometimes we can get lost in our day. And there may be times where you don't connect with God if you don't have that foundation and that routine set of daily connection, some form, some way. You need to be able to connect with yourself every day and be able to connect with God. Because what happens is you could be walking in blind faith, but if you're not connected to God, you're not hearing what God is saying, you could be misled to a whole another path. And it's up to you to be able to discern and hear God and know when God is speaking to you, and know when God is telling you to move, right? Because we talked about the different seasons. So we know we have our time where we're supposed to just be still, rest, relax, chill out, let God do whatever God is doing, and wait for God to say, okay, now is your time to move. But if you are not in tune and not connected and you don't have that relationship, then you can miss when God is talking to you and what God is trying to tell you. So Just keep that in mind and keep that at the forefront of your daily hygiene. Like, daily hygiene is not just bathing and brushing your teeth and washing your face. Like, those are the basics, right? A part of your daily hygiene should be spiritual hygiene. What are you doing to make sure that you're focused, you're locked in, and you're not getting distracted, right? I had to learn that distractions are gonna come. Like, it's unavoidable at times. Distractions are gonna come. One of our hugest distractions is the phone. And that's primarily why I've eliminated myself. Pretty much, I have not. Well, recently I've been getting back on Instagram, but I haven't been posting on Instagram for months because the phone is one of the hugest distractions. And for me personally, whenever I get in a kind of not so great space, social media is the first thing that I want to remove because I know that comparison, let me get this right. Is it comparison is the thief of joy? Yes, comparison is the thief of joy. So I know that if I'm scrolling on Instagram and seeing everybody's highlight reel of their life, and everybody makes their life look so perfect, and you start to get into your head. If you allow yourself to, you'll start to get in your head and think, oh, this woe is me, blah blah blah. Life is great for them. Why isn't life great for me? That's a very real thing for me. So that's kind of another reason why I haven't been on Instagram. It's very hard for me to get out of my head sometimes, if I'm being honest. And so I just like to eliminate some distractions so I can get in tune with myself, get in tune with God, make sure I'm in alignment, and focus on the things I'm supposed to be focused on. So, this is what blind faith really is. It's really about your day to day routine, moving and walking in faith no matter what, knowing that distractions will come, but you have to be obedient and you have to take action when God says it's time to take action. There's no way around that. And I think that also just learning to fully trust in God, right? Like, it's one thing to say, okay, God, I trust you. But to actually fully trust God, you have to actually do it, right? So we know that action speaks louder than words, and it's not enough to just say it. Now, you can say it to help yourself, to allow yourself to be able to fully express that, but it's not enough to just say it. You have to do it in action. And so, what that may look like for you might be different. But what it looks like for me is like, if I start to get worried, it's really like, okay, God, I'm not going to worry about it, right? And then I have to force myself to release the control of wanting to worry about it, and then let God do whatever God is going to do and say, okay, it is what it is, however it plays out, whatever it's supposed to be is going to be. I don't have any control over every situation, right? I don't have control over every single thing that's going to happen in my life. I don't have control over what's going to happen in the lives of the people I care about. But what I can do is give it to God, and I don't have to worry about it. I can release it and then move on and do whatever else I'm supposed to be doing at the moment. And so that's kind of how that works. And again, it's a learning process. Like, by no means am I telling you this is easy. It's not. um, there's that one song, if you grew up in the church. Nobody told me the road would be easy, right? But I don't believe God would bring me this far to leave me. Kind of cheesy, but I just have to believe that. Like, I really wasn't supposed to make it this far. And one day I'll tell my full story. But I'm naturally like a very private person. So I try to do my best without, disclosing too much personal information. And a lot of times it doesn't involve just myself, it may involve others. And so I don't want to, give out anyone else's information or anything like that, if they don't want that information out there. So I'm just naturally a private person. If you know me personally, then you know that that's just how I am. It takes a lot for me to let you in. That's a part of also trust issues that I have. And that's, hey, it's okay. I'm working through these things, right? We all have things we're working through. Nobody is perfect. But yeah, this was so good. And it feels so good to be back on the mic and actually record. It just feels so good. Like it just makes me so happy. I can't, if you're watching me, then you can see the smile on my face, and it just makes me the happiest. It just feels so good to just talk about things that I really, really, really am passionate about. And I can't wait to see what God has in store for the podcast, right? I have ideas, of course. But I just know that whatever ideas I have, it's gonna be bigger, bigger, big, 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 bigger, way bigger than what I can imagine. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have. I know this was like a very, very informal episode. Um, let me see what else I have in my notes. Oh, okay. I was gonna touch on high functioning depression. Um, if you've ever dealt with depression and you are able to get to a space where you learn your triggers and you can be aware of the fact that you're depressed, then it's very possible that you can experience high functioning depression. And what does that look like? That looks like you're able to do all of your daily tasks and routines that you need to do, but mentally you're just exhausted. You have no drive or motivation to really do anything else. You're really just kind of getting by, right? You'll still have maybe some sad thoughts, but for the most part, it's kind of like you're just able to manage the depression a little bit better, if that makes sense. But it's not fully you're functioning at your highest level. There's still some form of depression going on, to where the point that you're not being your full self. Something at the root is going on, but yet you're able to just function at a higher level than someone else might be able to. So that's just something to keep in mind and keep aware of. It's very real. Especially during these times, and we are, in the holiday seasons, the winter season. It gets dark at 3 p.m. So it's very easy to fall into these kind of seasonal depressions. And so it's just something to be mindful of. I already covered the fact that when I get into some form of depression, even high functioning depression, you lose interest in things. For me, the first thing was social media. I give it up. It's like whatever. It'll be there when I get there. And that's also kind of a weird thing for me, because it's like, what's my first post gonna be? Like, so much goes into content planning. If you actually care about your content, a lot goes into it, right? It's not just, oh, you just throw up some posts, but at the end of the day, it is. You create the content, you put it out. If someone likes it, they don't. If they do, great. But at the end of the day, it matters that you like your content. So that is that. Let's see what else I had. I covered all of that. Mm, yeah, I think we covered everything. Again, this was a very, very, very informal episode. But I want to thank you for listening, and I want you to know that you're not alone. You're not alone, and life is very scary. Um, Life is very scary at times, right? It's something that we don't always have control over. And if you have any type of anxiety or worry about the future, of course you want to know everything. If you're anything like me, you want to know everything, right? You want to know the date it's going to happen. You want to know the month, the season, the time, who's going to be there. What should you be all jokes aside, what should you be wearing? But you want to know every little detail about the future or about what's going to happen. And you just don't. We just don't. We don't know. We don't know. And it's not for us to lean on our own understanding. It's just not. So you're going to have to learn how to let go and let God seriously and really surrender and know that 9 times out of 10, if you have had a thought or something that you should be doing and it's not wrong, it's not hurting yourself or anyone else unintentionally or intentionally, then you should go for it. And just know that there's some reason that you keep having this thought or this want or this desire. There's literally seeds that God will plant. And if you ignore them, it's your choice to, or you can just move in blind faith, knowing that no matter what happens, everything will work out. So everything will work out might not look like what we want it to look like, but everything will work out the way it's supposed to work out. And that's kind of the challenging part of blind faith. But it's also very beautiful to know that whatever's on the other side of this worry, this anxiety, or, any type of doubt that you're having, whatever is on the other side is greater than that, is a blessing beyond your greatest dreams and imagination. And God will always provide. I know I'm not the only one who can testimony to that. I'm sure we've all had some form of experience where we didn't know how something was going to get done. And God always makes a way, like every single time. And so if you know that, then why question how things are going to work out? And of course, again, I'm not saying this is easy, but just know that at the end of the day, everything will work out. And if you can just find something to remind you of that, that will allow you to keep walking in faith, keep moving in faith, um, it's really the best thing that you can do is figure out a way that works for you to remind yourself in the moment when you're having any type of doubts that the only way to move forward is with faith and blind faith, unwavering trust in God, that no matter what, it'll work out the way it's supposed to, the way God has divined and destined it to work out. Period. Period, period, period. All right, so we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to end it with a scripture or a quote. Okay, I'm going to end it with Philippians chapter 4, verse 13. I can do all things through Christ with. Let's redo that. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthen me. So, whatever it is you want to do, through God is possible. Whatever it is you want to do, through God, it's possible. If you want to do 5,000 backflips, I don't know if that's physically possible, but through all things, God is possible. You may not be able to do it, in one setting, but you could maybe accumulate 5,000 backflips. Um, but yes, whatever it is that you want to do, just put your eyes and your focus on God and know that you can get it done. Have faith in yourself and not only in the outcome, but have faith in knowing that whatever the outcome is, you're capable and worthy of receiving whatever is on the other side. And with that, we're going to end this episode. I really, really, really appreciate anyone who has listened all the way through. And shout out to everyone who's listened so far. I did take a peek and saw that my listener numbers were going up. So I appreciate anyone who tunes into me and listens to anything I have to say about these topics on mental health and holistic wellness, spiritual wellness, etc. And yeah, again, this is not for professional help or therapy, just so that you're aware. These are my own personal views, but I do always leave information in the show notes or in the link in the bio on the Instagram. If you do need professional help or therapy, it's out there for you. So many amazing, wonderful people that are here to help you. We all struggle. No one is not struggling at some form of level. Um, I would say, especially during these times, I won't say it's getting harder, but there's a lot going on. And it's nice to have a nice support system and support group just to make sure hey, just a mental health check-in if you need to every once in a while. Hey, just want to talk about these things, whatever it is. There's people out there to help you. So I'll leave that information in the show notes. I think that pretty much covers it. Moving in blind faith going forward for me is really going to look like executing and showing up more consistently. Now, when I say consistently, please know that I'm a go with the flow type person. So consistency will look different for me, but showing up more consistently for sure. And however that looks for me, you'll be seeing my face a lot more. You'll be hearing my voice a lot more. And whatever else God has planned, we're closing out the year. It is basically December, and then we will be in 2023. So also get prepared. Next year is going to be a very, very, very big year. So I don't want to be one of those types of people who are like, oh, okay, make sure you get all your goals by December 31st. No. But make sure you sit down and really write out what you want your year to look like and really lock in on what's going to be required of you in order for you to obtain those things, right? Because with new levels comes new discipline. Speaking from experience, with new levels comes new discipline. And that's also a part of walking in blind faith. There's a lot of different elements. So I think we're going to touch on blind faith again in the future. I want to kind of summarize it in a more nice and precise way. But again, this was my first episode back to recording, and I'm just happy that I made it through the episode. And you're going to be listening to this because whether I want it to go out or not, I'm being obedient. So it's going out. All right, I've been talking a lot. Thank you for listening again. I'm your host, Arrianna. And yes, I look forward to more episodes, more sessions, more healing, more abundance, more faith, walk, talk, all the good things. And I will catch you in the next one. Thank you again for listening.